High performance Windows 98 retro gaming with the Core 2 E8600. Why didn't I use this processor in my recent video? One of you asked. Well, remember we used a PCIe video card, so really in that case it doesn't matter too much what processor you're gonna go with. It did get me thinking, however, and I want to revisit the topic, but now with a fast graphics card and of course the Core 2 Duo E8600. Let's go over the hardware that we are using in today's video. We have a beautiful motherboard from Gigabyte. It is the G41 MT S2PT for socket 775 with an Intel G41 chipset, so that means it has onboard graphics, but we will be using a dedicated video card. There are two slots for DDR3 memory modules. Nice legacy features. We have PS2, serial, parallel, and the SATA ports in the BIOS, you can toggle them to IDE mode. And of course we have PCI slots, so we can use sound cards, USB controllers and other devices. This board uses all solid caps. It's part of the ultra durable classic 4 range with protection against humidity, electrostatic, power failure and high temperatures. They claim the caps will last up to 50,000 hours of use. And here's the processor, the highlight of this video, nothing other than the Intel Core 2 Duo E8600. This one is the highest clocked Core 2, running at 3.33 gigahertz. But it also has 6 megabytes of cache, and that also plays a huge part. So that's why even if you take a lower Core 2 or a Pentium to the same clock speed, it will not be as fast because this one has more cache. Back in the day, and even to this day in the retro PC gaming community, there's a big debate about should I go dual core or quad core. And well, I'm definitely in the camp dual core. I use this dedicated for just gaming. I have no interest in doing retro video encoding or running music streaming in the background, which is compressed. And maybe a quad core has some benefits for a smoother experience, but purely for gaming performance, it's all about the clock speed. So I'm in the camp, get a faster dual core, you are better off compared to buying a quad core. The Core 2 Duo processors, they also run fairly cool. I'm using a very simple processor cooler, nothing fancy, and the temperatures are no issues whatsoever. I really like the E8600, it's a beautiful processor. Also beautiful is ordering PCBs from our channel sponsor PCBWay. It's your one-stop shop for printed circuit boards manufacturing and assembly, but also CNC machining, 3D printing and more. Check the video description for links and more information. Now with the memory here it gets interesting. I wanted to make sure we're using dual channel memory for faster performance. The smallest modules I have are these 2 gigabyte P&Y sticks. So we have 4 gigabytes in total. Now this is way too much for Windows 98, but I'm doing this really to get the maximum performance, not because of the amount of RAM. Now Windows 98 quick install, it's patched to support high amounts of RAM, so we will see how that goes. Now in the BIOS, I changed the RAM speed to 1333 megahertz, but in hindsight, it turns out this is actually an overclock. The chipset doesn't officially support it, but still, performance was fine and I didn't have any issues. And this is the graphics card. It is the legendary NVIDIA GeForce 6600 GT. This is the variant with PCI Express. So if you are interested in the HEP version, that one uses a bridge conversion chip, and that can cause issues with compatibility. Also, you will need a Molex power connector, and sometimes the clock speeds are a little bit lower. But our system is PCI Express, so no problem here. This model is from Gigabyte. It uses passive cooling. In the recent video, I noticed that the temperatures can get really high, over 90 degrees. So I opened it up to have a look what's going on, and I could see there's a heat pipe. It looks really solidly attached. I didn't want to mess with it, but I could see that the front heatsink was just attached with 2 screws, no thermal paste. So I applied some thermal paste. I also later added a 120mm fan. It's fairly quiet, around 1000 RPM. And the temperatures are much better now, and I didn't have any issues while running all the benchmarks. The video card has VGA, DVI, there's a TV out port, and also it supports SLI. So under Windows XP, if you fancy doing a SLI retro PC, you can do that. For sound, I love going with Creative Labs, usually a Sound Blaster Live, or this card, the Sound Blaster Audigy 2ZS. This one is a step up from the Sound Blaster Live. It sounds a little bit nicer, more cleaner, clearer, and when there are lots of voices going on, it handles them just a little bit better. In my opinion, it's one of the best sound cards for Windows 98. We're using Joseph's drivers. He figured out that you can use the Audigy driver disk for sound cards like the Live without any issues, and I'm here playing around with the mixer settings, boosting the volume and muting the inputs. For storage, we have a SATA SSD. It's a Western Digital 500GB blue. The BIOS is set to ID mode and we're getting outstanding performance. Here's a run of ATTO disk benchmark. Fantastic transfer rates. And once again, I'm using the nifty USB ODE. So this is a project to turn a Raspberry Pi into a USB CD-ROM emulator. So I'm selecting the Windows 98 Quick Install ISO, press F12, choose the USB drive, and off you go, Windows installed in no time. If you like this video, why not subscribe to my channel or support me through Patreon, where you get early access to unreleased videos and we can chat on Discord. For the graphics driver, we're using 77.72. This one worked really well for me, but it's not as good as older video cards and older drivers. It's a compromise. You can't have it all, unfortunately. Now I have to install it through Device Manager. In a recent video I showed you how you can patch the INF file, but you can just install it through Device Manager just fine. Here are all the driver options. Overclocking is there, temperature sensor, it's all there. Well, we're ready to run some benchmarks. 3D Mark 99 Max is first, and look at that. At the start, we can see immediately 500 FPS. That is amazing. We're getting a final score of 42,710 3D marks, and look at the CPU score, 87,127. 3D Mark 2000, we're getting 34,044. And I also ran 3D Mark 2001 SE, 28,765. And now let's run through our usual suite of time demo benchmarks. GL Quake is first, amazing performance, over 900 FPS at the 640 by 480 resolution. Quake 2, the performance is also amazing. This processor is so fast that we can see some GPU scaling going on as we increase the resolution. Quake 3 also no problem for this machine. This is expendable, a really good looking game, and it has a built-in time demo over 300 FPS across all the resolutions. Draken, Order of the Flame, we will talk about this game later in this video. Again, amazing performance, you cannot complain. And here we have a new addition to my benchmarks. It's Descent 3. This is with the OpenGL render. Again, outstanding performance. And I wanted to check out N-Glide. Now, in Unreal and Unreal Tournament, I found the frame rate is capped at 60 FPS, but still, I cranked up the resolution to 1600 by 1200. We're getting constant 60 FPS. Can't complain. Excellent performance. And after all the tests were complete, well, it's time to play some games, and I went back to Draken. I was really looking forward to playing this game on a fast machine, high resolution. Well, I ended up playing it at 1024 by 768 because otherwise the font, the reading is a little bit hard. It gets very small. Well, I finally beat the game. It is amazing. The start of the game, it really doesn't paint a realistic picture. This is one game that gets much better as you progress. It's a huge game, huge open world where you fly around with your dragon, and then you land, you enter caves, and you basically you scavenge and look for objects. There's a story, heaps of dungeons, heaps of enemies with different strategies, and amazing graphics. I ended up using a cheat because even on the easy difficult mode, it's quite a challenge, and I just wanted to enjoy my time. Interesting to mention is that the cheat can cause the game to crash. There's one level transition where that happens. Just deactivate the cheat before you go into the next level. And the final level, where you have a big boss fight, there's a separate cheat. For some reason it will also crash with the normal one. So really good game, and it's a big shame that this game is not available digitally. If you come across a second-hand copy, do grab it. This game is also tricky to run on modern PCs. There are some community patches floating around, but of course it runs fine on a Windows 98 retro gaming PC. And on the system that I showcased today, it runs like a dream. I've enabled VSync and also anisotropic filtering to make it look a little bit nicer, but I can't put my finger on it. It just feels smoother than on other machines, despite the benchmarks showing that it should be playable. So maybe having this excess horsepower really makes your games just silky smooth all of the time. So now I'm looking for my next game to play, a little side project that I'm working on. I'm trying to unfix GOG and Steam games that have been, patched to work on modern Windows. Well, they broke them for Windows 98. So I started going through all my backlog games, and I'm trying to undo what GOG and Steam did to those games to run them under Windows 98. So I have many games I can check out. So if you have any recommendations or tips, leave them down below. So using the E8600 for Windows 98, a lot of you will say this is total overkill. I mean, this processor can run Windows 10 if you want, if you give the socket 775 enough memory. But yeah, you've seen the results. It's absolutely amazing. Hundreds and hundreds of FPS across all the games. With the NVIDIA 6600 GT, we can crank up the resolution. If you want to play games at 1600 by 1200 at 60 FPS locked and silky smooth, well, this machine will do it. And playing Draken, it was a dream. It was absolutely silky smooth, no hitching going on whatsoever. So there is something to be said for building a high-end Windows 98 retro gaming PC. I also really like working with LGA 775. This is sort of the era where the hardware got really good and reliable. Little aspects like USB booting, the SATA controllers, everything just works. Doesn't matter if it's DOS, Windows 98, Windows 10. The compatibility is just so good. It's effortless to put together, and also you avoid the capacitor plague dramas. You can get motherboards with solid caps, so there's just a lot I really like about using such hardware. And with that, I'm asking you the question, what do you prefer? Do you prefer something authentic, which means, well, maybe a Pentium 3 with GeForce 2 or a Voodoo 3 or something like that? And yeah, you will get some performance issues, but maybe you're looking for that authentic experience. Or do you also want to have something maxed out where you can crank up all the settings and it just flies like a dream? So I'm looking forward to hearing your answers, reading your comments on Saturday morning. It's the highlight of my week, grabbing a coffee and checking your comments and your thoughts. And I always get inspired by what you guys write. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for watching my videos. And I shall see you soon with another one.